spiel to all of the Cyclopses that have been building with Dr. David Israel and all of the Demona Saints, to our leader, Ashriel Moore, power to the people, my brother, and to all of those part of the nation backing our president, Traore. The screams of Traore run through the streets of Africa. This is I call it the Mother's Day edition. I want to do it now that before the week gets tumultuous, that we remember black moms. And I'd like to start it off with the toughest job in the world and probably the longest stigma, positive and negative, of black women that we currently have is the single black mom. The single black mom stigma. I don't really like that term, single black mom, because it's become a scenario where it's actually almost a racial slur to all black people. And somehow that we came to be without a father. All of us have sprung into being through immaculate conception by these single black mothers that have had no father, no man in the house, the absenteeism of the black man, and all these stupid statistics that have been thrown at our community for maybe 50 years, have been thrown at the black community all over North America and the world, everywhere. The single black mother, the single black mother. Well, I'm a guy who was raised by a single black mother. And that old girl was a tough girl. I had a tough childhood, right? I had a tough childhood, not because, I grew up in a scenario where, there wasn't a lot of income. We grew up in housing. Not only because I grew up in areas that were allegedly drug infested and had a lot of marginalization, and I say I had a tough childhood because I grew up with a very tough black mom, very, very tough lady, and a lot of it is environmental, I think, apart from her own personal DNA. I always say that Tyler Perry, he came to my house when he was a young boy, and he studied my mom, and then he grew up, and then he made Medea, because he said he spent so much time watching my mom. Because I see Medea, and I'm like, that's my mom. That's my, 6 feet tall, got shoulders like a lineman, like an NFL lineman. All right. Sharp, harsh, not much of a nurturer. That's not really her strong point. She's a survivor. She was more about discipline than she was about cuddles, at least for me. But I kind of needed that kind of mother. She was 18 years old when she found out that I was coming. And she absolutely hates when I talk about her. This lady does not like it, doesn't like it when I speak about her in public, preach about her, which is why it tickles me so much to talk about her on Mother's Day. I'm gonna send her this video. She's gonna hate it. She's absolutely gonna hate it. But that lady was a tough lady. And the reason I'm as tough as I am is really because of that lady. Later on, being acquainted with my father, he wasn't as tough as my mother was, to be honest with you. And the greatest differences between me and the brothers that I had, that I have with my dad, who are not from the same mother, is the toughness. Now you can imagine being a single mom in 1969 in anywhere in North America, or the Caribbean. Of course, not being married, that's a stigma. That's a huge stigma in the Caribbean, especially at that time. And they whisked her off to Canada. She married another guy, and he wasn't much of a guy at all. Not much of a dude at all. Terrible dude, actually. I didn't like him. He's the father of my brother, and that's probably why me and him don't get along at all either, because his father was garbage in my opinion. But she married this dude, and that quickly dissolved. And then she was stuck dealing with me by herself and dealing with her other son. And I saw we were in Montreal, and French Canadians are, they were getting used to Pierre Trudeau's immigration policy, bringing all these Caribbeans, and it wasn't Africans at that time. It was mostly Caribbean people they brought up, the students, and to work. And French Canadians had some very choice words for us at that time. And so I came up here. I was living down in the Caribbean. My mother sent for me when I was probably about 3, almost 4 years old. And when I came up here, I witnessed that lady have to square off against men in the street. Literally, I had to fight. I learned to fight in Montreal at 3, 4 years old. I had to learn to put up my dukes and fight. And I also learned I was black in Canada. I didn't know I was black before. At least that might think that's a weird thing to say, but you grow up in the Caribbean, you're from Trinidad, everybody's a Trinidadian. You come here, they let you know, no, I want to tell you what you are. Let me tell you what you are, N-word. And I was like, what? I didn't know what it meant, but I didn't like what it sounded like. And they called her that in the street, the N-word and her baby. And it was rough. I remember going the first time to a grocery store. It was like a market inside, right? For me, it was an inside market. It was like all our markets are outside. Inside market, and I saw some grapes. And I said, I was like, let me see if I can take a grape. And I went to take a grape, and the French Canadian guy saw me, the grocer saw me, and I didn't even get a chance to take a grape yet. I think I was 4 years old. He's trying to run me down like I was a thief. My mother had to put him in check. Say, what are you doing? So he just touched the grapes. He didn't even take a grape. I was about to take a grape. So I seen her have to square off against men, big, hard back grown men. One little boy punched me in my nose. That was my first fight, and my nose was bleeding. And I heard, and then he spit on me. And my mother was watching the whole thing from a window upstairs. I kind of didn't know what to do. And I don't know, you guys some of you never met me in real life, but at 3 years old, I was probably the size of a 6-year-old. So the kid wasn't even bigger than me, but I didn't know what to do. And she screamed back with her Trinidadian accent, "Lick him back! Spit back upon him!" I was frozen. I didn't know what to do. Man, we lived in I think it was a 3-story building, maybe. I was young, so I don't remember 100%. Could have been a 5-story building, could have been a 3-story building. I just know it had no elevator, and we had to walk up every set of stairs. That lady was downstairs and lickety-split. No time. She was downstairs. Flew down them stairs, and that little boy started to run. And that time, too, I realized that my mom was a track star. That lady she ran him down like Sharika. She ran him down with form, right? Caught him just as he got to his front door, and his French Canadian father came outside. I got blood all over me. I'm trying to keep up with her, chasing this little boy down. Little boy, he was probably about 6 or 7. And no, the French Canadian father's like, they're just kids, they're just playing. And she's like, yeah, they're just playing? How about if I punch you in your face? How about if I punch you in your face, and we'll see if that's just playing. And on the way home, I got in trouble. I got in trouble for losing a fight, and I've never lost a fight since. You don't let these little kids, you don't let these little white kids disrespect you and punch you, and they hit you, hit them back 10 times harder. At first time I heard that. 10 times harder. Okay? Anything they do to you, do it 10 times harder. You got to be smarter. You got to be 10 times better than them. And this is where it started. This is where the true education started. This is where my mom started to raise me in the single black mother method. She had to raise me like that, right? She wasn't a man, but she had to toughen me up from young. That lady taught me how to cook at about 10 years old while she was working her second job, because sometimes she had 2 jobs. And she'd come home, she's exhausted, she's probably too tired to cook and too late. I'm a grown boy, I'm hungry. So we had those old black phones, and she's teaching me how to cook. I gotta listen to the phone, put the phone down, go in the kitchen, do what she says, come back out, listen to the phone, because that was before the cordless phone era. Some of you young guys don't even know that. This is before there was no such thing as a cordless phone. Eventually, they got the extended phone. They got that extended cord phone. But this time, that phone was on the wall. It was black. It was hung on the wall. You talked to it. You put the phone down. You went, did what you did. You came back, picked up the phone. There's no speaker phone. There's nothing like that. That's how I learned to cook, step by step, piece by piece. And so the single mother stigma became an excuse, I think, to European colonized Western ideology that maybe this is why these Caribbean kids are this and that and that and this. Now, if that was today, 5%, not even 5%, I might say, maybe that's a reason certain things were going on in the community. But let me tell you something. The 70s, the manners, the way that people were raised in the 70s is not like how people are raised today. We had manners. Regardless if you had a single mom, you had a father and a mother in the household. Rather if you had only a mother in the household and your dad was somewhere else, you had manners. Kids had manners. Kids were studious. Parents came home and said, "Hey, go look about your book. Why are you on this TV, boy? Turn off this TV and go open your book." We had a mindset that education, discipline, good manners were all the virtues that you required. A child should be seen and not heard. Not this behavior that a lot of these kids have now. They would slap you if you make too much noise. They would slap you if you didn't do your chores. They would slap you if you didn't finish your homework. Right? They would slap you if they heard some neighbor saying anything about you. One slap. And that's what they would tell you in Trinidad. I'll give you one slap. We were rougher. They were rougher on us. Isn't that true? These days you hear a kid gets beat by a belt, you're like, oh my gosh. Us, in school, the principal had the strap. The principal could beat you. In America, North America, they called it the strap. When we heard kids were going to get the strap, we're like, oh man, we are never going to see you again. We looked at it like an execution. A leather strap, and they hit you on your hand with that strap, boy. We thought they were beating you all kind of ways. Like you just got one lick in your hand. They wouldn't hit you in your hand at home. So the single black mother, to me, had to overcompensate. But in the 70s and 80s, they did. I think a lot of them did a fantastic job. Would it have been easier with a male role model? To some of them, it would have. To some of them, it might have been harder, to be honest with you, because the expectation of what men had at that time. I mean, a lot of Caribbean men, again, they were really heavy-handed. They're kind of heavy-handed guys. And a lot of them, could have read a parenting book or two. And they had no nurture in them. But what men like myself, who were raised without a father figure in the house, missed out. And it's one of the things that to this day it's part of my it's part of who I am. I have no handy skills whatsoever. I have a friend of mine, I call her and her sister, I call them the Seaton twins, and I asked her, I said, hey, listen, do you mind coming over and changing this lock on my, I need help, because I know she's handy. She was raised with her father and her mother, and the dad taught her all the stuff that normally the boys would get taught. So she's super handy. She can change locks and she can do all kinds of stuff that you would think, a dude is supposed to know how to do. I had no idea. She came over, Tasha came over and changed the lock and everything on the door. I was like, oh my gosh. I go, you know what? That wasn't even that hard. It wasn't even that difficult. But she has a natural inclination, because dad took her and said, hey, let me show you how to do this. Everything around the house that needed to be fixed. I got another brother by the name of Stanley. Stanley, he could build a house from scratch, raised with his dad. And so a lot of these things you miss out. Now me, because I was raised around my mom was about those books. So she was like, hey, I think in first grade, she brought home, she goes, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, I don't know. She goes, you're smart, you should want to be a lawyer. I said, yeah, I think I want to be a lawyer. And then she brought home all these lawyer books. And I was reading her college from her, as a young single mother. Vocabulary, I was 2 grades ahead. They wanted to move me 2 grades ahead. She said, no, I want him to be advanced at his level. That was another big decision she did too, and I really appreciate that when I look back at it. She said they wanted to move you and advance you from the 1st grade to the 3rd grade. Because first of all, when you came here, they said, oh, he's from the Caribbean. He probably needs to go back a grade. Go back a grade. He's 2 grades ahead. So they wanted to move me from the 1st grade to the 3rd grade. And she said, absolutely not. Because if you put him in the 3rd grade, they're going to think he's a 3rd grader, and they're going to think that he's simply just a normal little boy. I want people to know he's advanced. Leave him in the 1st grade. Leave me right in the 1st grade. Let him be advanced. And she did that. She left me at my grade level, allowing me to develop and taking the time to develop, although I was a big child. And it made me feel good about myself, that I'm smart. Made me feel smart. One of the good things that she did. But the hard part with the single mother scenario is, who are going to be the positive male role models in my children or my child's life? And especially when you got boys. Who are going to be these people who pour into these young men? And that now becomes extremely environmental. Moving on from the single moms, you've got the mothers that they held it down at home. They had a man in the house, and they held it down at home. They were the backbones of the family. I say something about women. A good wife or a good mother will teach her children how to respect the father. Those kids come in the house. Did you say good afternoon to your dad? Don't make so much noise. Your dad just came home from work and he's tired. You guys better get to this, do all this stuff before your father, because I don't want him to come out here and raise his blood pressure telling you to do. A good mom makes those kids respect the father. She'll tap the dad on the shoulder and say, hey, I just bought her a new dress. I want you to go downstairs and tell her she looks beautiful. Well, no, do it right now. Go downstairs and tell her she looks fantastic. All right. Hey, hey, Dorothy, you look great. Shaniqua, you look fantastic. I just want to let you know that. Thanks, Daddy. All right, I'm going upstairs. A good mom knows how to organize the whole household. She understands the emotional equilibrium that the household has to exist on. She teach us things like, hey, around this dinner table, later on, no cell phones. Let's have dinner conversation. Make sure you're home for dinner. Making sure that man gets out the house looking the best he looks. So young boys are up there watching their father and watching how the mom takes care of dad and watching how dad takes care of mom. That's great. And I think most black cultures are very maternal, meaning that the woman is a figurehead of the community, whether it be the mothers, and then you can move on to the grandmothers, and they carry a level of respect, a high level of respect, especially in Christian culture, that, you know, you've got a strong black mother, black grandmother. My grandmother was the matriarch of the family. When she came around, you listen to her. It doesn't matter who it was. You listen to her. My grandmother walked in the house. Every man in the house called her mother. Even if she wasn't your mother. Her title was mother. Mother Brereton, good morning. Mother Brereton, you need me to bring you anything? Mother Brereton was an iconic figure in our family. I called her Mummy. My mother, because I didn't really grow up with her initially. I called her by her first name because it was weird calling people mom. So my grandmother was mom and my mother was her actual name. That's just how it was. I don't know if some of you guys might have the same dynamic. But when my mother and my grandmother were in the room, there was only one mother in that room, and it was her. That grandmother. And everybody called her mom, or mother. That's what they called her. Mommy, mother. It's mommy if you're a woman, and mother if you were a man. My big, strong, hardback uncles, some of the toughest men I've ever met in my life, still to this day, other than my bishops. They called that lady mother, and she loved her boys. That's another thing too. And I don't know if this is the same I know it's the same in a lot of African culture, some Islamic culture, but those moms love their boys. The boys can do no wrong. They love their boys, children born. And my grandmother made up for the nurture that my mother couldn't afford to have, because she just had to be tough. But she loved her boys. And a lot of guys sometimes say, and we've said in the past, you know, a woman cannot teach a man to be a man. I'm gonna put a slight little pushback on that. What my grandmother gave me, she gave me the nurture so that the man that I became would not become a monster. Completely. A little monster in here. But she gave enough nurture to supplement the lack of nurture from my biological mom. And her nurture allowed the tough little boy, the tough man that would come out of that, to have some nurture in him. And, you know, a lot of times my young daughters, they saw that. The boys didn't as much. And I'm quite nurturing to my sons, although I'm very tough with them too. But my daughters saw the nurturing side that I think came more from my grandmother. And if it wasn't for her, I don't know what type of nurturer I would have been. So, yes, the overt masculine aspects of our manhood, a woman can't give us, but the nurture aspects of our fatherhood, hopefully the mothers are able to pass down some of that nurture, so that when we become dads, we're not simply gorillas, but we have some level of nurture in us. I don't know. We got to give our black moms a chance again. You know, we got to give them a chance. I know that it's difficult right now with black men and black women. I just had a show on it the other day. It's very difficult. It's a very difficult dynamic. They're being fed two different things culturally. Simp culture is huge, huge. I call it again simp, S-I-M-P culture is huge. It's inundated the minds of men, that men are learning to be men through radical feminist simp culture. It's very dangerous. It's very terrible for men. How a lot of men are being reared by this. I'm so glad I wasn't brought up in that. And so single men now, and this is like young adults are being recultured, being made into, I don't know what to call them. I don't know what to say on this broadcast because I'm trying to keep it PG. But it's difficult raising yourself as a man these days because the information that you're getting is skewed very badly in the wrong direction. So we need to have a reacquaintancing of what it means for the black man and the black woman to get together. We are the most, the culture that has just most been dragged through it, man. Like from the 70s, the nuclear relationship of the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, till today, it's changed so drastically. I mean, look at our role models. Like A$AP Rocky and Rihanna are the current day nuclear family. Rihanna's pregnant again, by the way. A$AP not playing on that woman. He's not playing, boy. He's keeping that girl pregnant. But that's the new nuclear family. Think about it. A$AP Rocky and Rihanna are the Cosbys of this era. A$AP is Cliff Huxtable, and Rihanna is Claire Huxtable. Most people grew up, black families grew up watching the Cosbys. Before the Cosbys, you would have been potentially watching the Jeffersons, or checking out Good Times. Check those shows out. Nuclear black families. The Jeffersons were upper class. They had money. The Cosbys were upper middle too. They had money. Doctors. And then you had Good Times. They were broke. James was broke. James eventually died, leaving Florida as the single mom to take care of the household. It was terrible. Awful. Watching that show. Then you had What's Happening? Single black mom raising children. So we had some interesting scenarios watching people in these various types of families. Then you had different strokes. We had a white man raising two black children. That didn't turn out well for Todd Bridges. We had some interesting demonstrations of what families were like. And we've never had one conversation about it. I mean, white folks, the harshest blended family white folks had was the Brady Bunch. Here's a story of a man named Brady who was busy with 3 boys of his own. Oh man. And she had 3 kids. She was somebody's baby mama. And he was somebody's baby daddy. But we never thought about that as a stigma. Did you ever think about that? Who the heck were the baby daddies for this woman? With you showing up with 3 of your own girls. This man had 3 boys, and they had a blended family. And it was very interesting, kind of weird sometimes, because these people weren't really family. The boys were all the same age as the girls. Some real funny business could have happened if that was a modern movie. But anyway, thank goodness. But no stigma on them. No stigma for the Brady Bunch. But all of our shows were stigmatized. All of our shows had stigma. They carried stigma. It's a very interesting dynamic. To the point that if you ask the question today, what does the black family look like? I promise you, you'll have a different answer in the mouths of everybody. You'll have a different answer. Tell me what the nuclear black family is. How many times do I hear, oh yeah, so and so, he's got his mother and his stepdad. We are experts. The black man, you are an expert stepdad. You know that? You are a stepdad expert. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. And we're ridiculous with that. Every Negro wants to be a stepfather. And I guarantee he's got his own kids to take care of, but he's somebody else's stepdad. Yeah, my stepdad, my stepdad, my stepdad. I've never heard a good stepdad story. I've never heard one. Honestly. Yeah, me, my mom, she got married again. It's my stepdad. Yeah. A lot of times you look into that stepdad was somebody having an affair. That stepdad was somebody's, he was a friend or something of the previous dude. And, he's cutting his throat. We got some bad stepdad scenarios happening in the black community. Stepdads, all these stepdads. Women not allowing the biological father to see the child because she got a new man who's a stepdad. And stepdad steps in there and steps on all of the historical relationships that kid had. Stepdad. I'm not a fan of the stepdad in our community. Our stepdad, the stepdad title, those guys, some of those guys are some of the worst Negroes that we have. I'm telling you. I know that you hear some of the good stories, but you don't hear some of the terrible ones. We hear things like, oh, Shaquille O'Neal, he was raised by his stepdad. Well, what we found out later on was when the stepdad died, Shaq went, met his biological father, and they're fantastic. So what was the problem? What was the problem? Right? I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna say the problem was. His mother told him to go back and go try to get a reconnection with the father since the stepdad is dead. It shouldn't have taken all that, in my opinion, but let me just leave that alone. We stay positive. We have to reinvent, have a conversation afresh about what the nuclear black family is. And we need to desire to have that again. I personally believe in this particular generation that due to the interference of negative social stereotypes that we have developed a current day, and I hope this can change in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, we have developed a current day incompatibility between black men and black women, unfortunately. We're almost incompatible. And it's a horrible thing because we're incompatible, but we're still attracted to each other. We're still having children, and the relationships are still failing at an incredible rate compared to other demographics. These are statistics talking, not my opinion. Black relationships, covenanted or otherwise, they just don't last. And they're under incredible strain. And it must be, there is an incompatibility between black men and black women that comes to manifest itself when we decide to get married. All right. And a lot of you are saying, oh, I don't agree. How many times have you been married? You got a lot of multiple marrying people in the black community, right? Been married twice and counting, and still aspire to be married, and still aspire to be married to black people, which is natural, normal, and I'm not trying to shake that. But why is it that you have people in their 40s and in their 50s on their third marriage in the black community? This was something that you would hear about with pop stars. Elizabeth Taylor, oh, she's been married 3 times. Oh my gosh, 3 times. Lionel Richie. Like, a lot of these guys have been married multiple times. Steve Harvey. How many times has Steve Harvey been married? Talk like a man. Like, shut up, Steve. Steve Harvey been married about 5 times. If you've been married twice and counting, twice, you've decided that you are going to live out the rest of your life with a person. Once, and then you decided that you're going to live out the rest of your life with the person too, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. If you've had to make that kind of serious decision about your life twice and counting, something's wrong, not with you specifically. It is a problem of the culture. Why am I making these serious life choices for the wrong person? And why are they making them for me? What is it about me that you like that you absolutely are not compatible with, that will not last? And what is it about you that I like and I want, but I know, or don't know, but I realize after a while, this ain't working? What is it? And really, I don't have the answer for you. I don't have the answer. All I have is the conclusion that statistically, 60% of black relationships fail, end in divorce, church or not. And therefore, we need to re-envision what the black family looks like. And I'm sure people coming on this show, listening to this later on, you have lots of things you could say about reasons you could say. And I think many of them will be valid reasons. And so that means that we have this kind of goulash, this kind of mixed stew of reasoning of why these relationships are not working. They're going to say, oh, it's economic. And I think that's not unreasonable, but I do believe that the black woman of this current era is the most economically sound version of black women that we've ever seen in North America. They are building businesses faster than their composite the men. They're graduating from university. They're getting opportunity in corporate America. They're beautifying themselves. Black women, I think, have never been more beautiful than they have today. So they have a sense of independence that they've never had before. They work together as groups. Black women, we see that image being pushed more than we see the image of black men working together as groups. We see a lot of things. There's a lot of things happening. And we just don't know why these relationships are failing. But one thing that I can say is that black women love black men. They love their black men. And, I think brothers, for the most part, are still enamored by the beauty and the charisma and the brilliance of the black woman. So why aren't the relationships lasting? And this is the other thing. Now, I'm gonna give you my side of the fence, why I think they don't last, right? And this ain't gonna be a popular show because these kind of topics, people don't like them. And somebody asked me the other day, says, I listen to you and I think sometimes you need someone to talk to. Girl, I created this show so I can talk to somebody. But let me tell you why I think they have a lot of problems and what I think the potential solution could be. When you look at a beautiful black woman or you look at a handsome black man in the 40s and the 50s, the 30s, ancient time, how did that relationship come together? It came together by the people who were interested in each other, saying to their parents, I am interested in this young lady. Could you figure out a way to bring us together? And it was families coming together with families. The man would go to the father and the mother and say, I'm interested in your daughter. I would respectfully like to have the permission to court her. That's more North American. You'd have Eastern or African tradition where it says, hey, my son likes your daughter. And we would like to begin negotiations, begin having the conversation about them courting each other. Bride prices might be agreed to. It was a formal coming together of two worlds, where today you meet a girl on the side of the street and be like, hey, what's going on? Hey, I like you, man. Come with me. Come hang out with me later. Okay. And you guys are in a relationship 6 months before the parents even know this person exists. 7 months, years. Some people are calling their parents saying, hey mom, I want to let you know that Billy, the guy that I told you about one time, yeah, like we're actually engaged and we're getting married in next spring, so I'm gonna come down and we're gonna plan out the wedding. Oh, okay honey, that's amazing. Parents don't even know this guy. And so a lot of times what I believe is that we pick based on our own emotions and the temporality of those emotions. But we're not building families in the ancient way, which is why these things are failing. The church would say it like this: did you pray about it? Did you ask God if you're supposed to be with that man? Did you ask the Lord if that woman is the woman he wants you to marry? Who have you consulted? And that's the key. Most of you just say, girl, I met a man the other day. Oh my goodness, you should see him. He reminds me of Marcus. Remember Marcus, who I used to date back in 1990? Y'all don't pick right. That's what it boils down to. And you shouldn't even be doing the picking. Now, would I let my mother pick a potential mate for me? Heck no. I would never let that lady pick nobody for me. Hey, I don't know what she would pick. I don't know. I would not trust her to pick. But has she been right with the people that I picked? She sure has. She's like, not that one. You want that one? You're looking for trouble with that one, boy. That's how Caribbean people are. You're looking for trouble with that one. That one ain't gonna work. One look. They don't need it. They don't need any time. They just look at it and saying, that ain't gonna work. That one day, and a lot of times we're dismissive of that hater advice that they give, because like, how do you know? You just saw the person for 5 seconds. I don't need long. I can tell you right. I can tell you everything about you right now. Everything about she. She panty. She have a rip in she panty right now. I can tell you everything. They can tell you everything. They can look at that. Back in the day, a man. You bring the wrong dude to the house. Who's this? This is Michael, Dad. This is who I told you about. Michael. What you want here, Michael? Don't come in here causing no trouble in my house, boy. They read that, man. They look at that boy right away. Be like, not this little Negro. No, I seen his type. I grew up around these kind of little boys here. He got to go. But Dad, no dad mean nothing. Get out of my house. Like right away, they read it. They look at you and read you right up and down. Because we know you can't bring my children could not bring somebody to me and I can't look at them and be like, oh boy, I'm gonna tell you exactly what that situation is. You want me to tell you? You want me to tell you? Because we know. So that's why I think these relationships are failing. Because we're just out here picking trash. My mother would use other choice words. You're out here picking, and you're picking. Yeah, for those who are from the Caribbean, you know how she finished that sentence. So, anyway, the black mother and the black woman needs to be given another chance. And there has to be a conversation where we literally sit down at a table and we scream at each other and tell each other all the stuff that we can't stand about each other. I'm talking corporately. I'm not talking about having that as an issue. Like, we need to have this dialogue, right? The black man feels disrespected. The black woman feels undervalued. And that conversation needs to be had. We need to sit down and have that conversation. Why do you think the most popular things right now, the most popular conversations and communications, these podcasts, these so-called relationship coaches, these people are making sometimes millions of dollars having conversations about this very issue, because it is epidemic in our community. And we're trying to figure it out. And it's so epidemic, it's such an addictive mentality that literally a woman could be in a relationship for 20 years and get out of that relationship and say, I'm looking for Mr. Right. Didn't you just get out of a relationship? And she will find Mr. Right within 6 months, 8 months, and be convinced this is the right guy, and then live out the life with him, and come back and tell you, oh yeah, that relationship was horrible. I thought you were having a good time. And, oh man, he did this, he did that, he did this. Girl, while you were in that relationship, I thought you were. I saw you on social media. You guys are out. You're posting in love, black love, all kind of stuff. Oh, he was terrible. This man was a pig. He was messy. He was this. He was that. So I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know what is making folks happy. I don't know. And I got some sisters who are friends of mine, and they're on that dating trail. And you brothers don't realize these girls are out here dating multiple dudes on your head. Okay, on your head. They are dating multiple men on your head. On your head. Yeah, you ain't hearing from her on a consistent basis. Yeah, there's a reason why. They are dating multiple dudes on her head. You see her flying. Oh, she seems to be flying all over the place. She's flying all over the place to visit all these dudes. And black women are saying, hey, if he's not committed to me, I'm gonna be out here. And black men are saying, when they find out that's the culture of these women, they're saying, commitment? I'm not committed to nobody, man. I'm gonna be out here playing the field. And we have that now. We have a bunch of scenarios where people are simply not committed. I was talking to my pastor friend, Pastor Devon Thompson, my main man, 100 grand. And he's like, he just put his head back. He said, oh, I'm glad I'm not out here with that. And it's true. You know, a lot of brothers are like, I'm very happy that I do not have to be out here in this current social swamp of dating. And it is a swamp. It is an absolute swamp of what the heck is going on out here in the dating world. And quite frankly, you got two choices, really. You could go force yourself into some kind of thing just to say you're in a relationship, or you could just take it easy. And I know a lot of women used to say this, and I think some of them must have figured this out, because I'm kind of coming to those conclusions too. It's like, I'm just going to be alone with Jesus, enjoy my time being by myself. And a lot of women have come to those conclusions, and not because they're not dateable. Okay, every time I turn this thing off, it messes up. Not because they're not dateable, because they realize that what's out here currently at the time is not conducive for forever. So, but black moms, we appreciate you. We appreciate everything that you put yourself through to make us who we are. We couldn't have done it without you. Whether you were too harsh, whether you were too soft, whether you kicked our fathers out, whether you couldn't stay married, whether you could stay married, whether you stayed married too long, whatever you had to do, we appreciate you. And we have thrown you under the bus a lot. Now we're going to come down and just dust you off a little bit, because it's Mother's Day. And we want to honor you because you are deserving and worthy of the honor. Can I say it like that? To all the mothers, black and otherwise, happy Mother's Day. Del K. Brereton, this is The Real Smooth.